It's not gonna fall apart. It's not weak. It's perfect. Today we're going to be making one of the best blueberry crumble bars that are keto friendly that you probably have ever tasted. So let's get right into it. Well, the first thing that we have to do is we're going to start by making the sauce. It's fresh or frozen. It's just like, I always like to keep some frozen blueberries on hand. Just, so I don't have to go to the store when I want to make this. I can just keep it in the freezer. So we're actually going to just let that cook down. I'm going to turn this into a blueberry sauce. I use monk fruit sweetener, so we're going to do 6 tablespoons. So I'm putting in a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. You could start out with less if you want it to be a little less sweet. We're going to also add in 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. You can also use lime juice if you like. A tiny pinch of salt to help bring the flavor out a little bit. It will bring out the sweetness, it'll bring out the flavor. You're gonna also add in some xanthan gum to this to thicken it up once it gets saucy, but right now we just have to let it cook down. So we will leave it at that for now. Now we're gonna start making our crust, and for our crust we're gonna add in a mixture of almond flour and coconut flour. Add in whatever sweetener you use, but I have a love for monk fruit, so that's what we're using. And then you just want to mix it in. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg really brings it out too. Pinch of salt. Vanilla extract. Melted butter here. I'm gonna mix this together here till it all comes together. We want it to be like a crumbly consistency. And this amount right here actually gonna be enough for the top and the bottom. Okay, so as you can see, it's came together. It's nice and crumbly. See that? Just, oh, I don't know how I can show you that. Okay, you see how it's like that? Now normally, I would tell you we need to use some parchment paper in this pan, but I don't have any. We got this other bowl here real quick, and we're just gonna take about half of it. It doesn't have to be exact because the other side is just gonna be the top for the crumble. I mean, I do like it to be covered pretty nice at the top, but so I'm just gonna kind of guess here, and you can do it either way you want. I mean, you can measure it or you could just eyeball it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and eyeball it and say that's about half. And I am gonna spray this thing though, because that might help it not stick. Ready to preheat my oven. You're going to preheat it to 350 degrees because we are going to have to bake the crust first just to make it more stable. So we're going to take our crumble here. Okay. I don't know, I might have to add a little bit more of the other one in here. So it just depends too, like how, let's put some back in here, how thick you want it. I think it's most important that you have the bottom covered well. That way your crumble bars don't fall apart and things. It really doesn't matter if you don't have that much for the top. The top is just crumble, so the top doesn't have to be all like that. But let me just try to get this all at the bottom here. Okay. Then you just want to like try to smooth it out a little bit, even it out. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to go around here and we're going to press it down. You can use like a cup or your hands or a special tool, whatever you want. But my hands are clean. It's for my family, not for anyone else. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put that in the oven for about 350 degrees, and then we're going to do that for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to remove it, let it cool for a little bit, and then we're gonna check on our filling to make sure that's done. Pull this crust out. Okay, so it should look just like that. And we definitely want to let this cool for a minute. Okay, they're all softened and everything. So you just want to get something that to mash them up a little bit. You don't have to, but I like to mash them. I'm just using a meat smasher, but that's the best I have right now. And according to my recipe, it says to put in a teaspoon and a half of xanthan gum, but I'm still only going to start with a teaspoon just because, you know, this might be a different brand of xanthan gum that I used before, so. Alright, and I decided I was going to add in that other half a teaspoon. I just added in 2/4 teaspoons right now. So this should finish it up. And of course, we want this to cool a little bit as well because, you know, we don't want to pour it in there like hot. Our crust has cooled down a little bit. Alright, look how nice and thick it is. Okay. This is what you want for this type of thing. That way it doesn't run everywhere. But go ahead and add that in there. And then just spread it out. As long as you can have some sweets on keto, it's all good. We're going to add this crumble to the top. Okay? And you don't want this tight. You want this nice and loose and how a crumble is supposed to be. But we do need to add a couple more things to this first. I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of brown sweetener. This one is actually really good. We're going to add in a little bit more cinnamon than the bottom has. And then we're also going to add in another tiny amount of nutmeg. Last thing we're adding in here is a tablespoon of softened butter. It's not melted butter, it's just softened. But you see how it makes those thick chunks? That's what you're looking for. Okay. Now that it has those nice crumbles there, we're going to just kind of spread them all over the best we can. Now we have to put it back in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Here's the crumble bar. Okay, it's gonna be delicious. Okay, I already showed this to you, but ooh, it looks good though. Oh my god, I love this. It's not gonna fall apart. It's not weak. It's perfect. That's it for today's video. Let me know if you try it. I'm gonna go enjoy this.